Again to the Hub. I'm the director here, so it's really lovely to have you here. Storytelling has been a theme for us for the last several years, actually, because it's such a powerful tool for achieving all our goals. I brought my phone up because I do like discipline and timers, and I'm going to just run through a quick story for you about a storytelling initiative. Let me make sure I can get to the right slides. Just a second. Nope. It might be a separate.
Sorry.
Okay. Gonna make an interlude.
You didn't see that.
There we go. Okay, so to get us started. Okay, so again, good afternoon. I'm Nada, director of the Open Gov Hub, and I'm here to tell you a quick story about a storytelling initiative that we did with Transparency and Accountability Initiative earlier this year, which is a podcast series called Open Gov Stories. Okay. So this is a global podcast series that we launched really with the goal of making space to hear the personal stories and experiences of a variety of change makers in our field. And kind of the driving question behind a lot of these conversations was, why do you really care about changing the world? Why do you really do the work that you do? And how can we make space for sharing these personal conversations as kind of an entry point to really reflecting more deeply on our underlying motivations and kind of being more thoughtful about the work that we're doing. This series is live. We launched it this summer. It's available anywhere you find podcasts. It's called Open Gov Stories, again, so you're welcome to explore, and we'd love your feedback on it at any time. But why did we do this? Why did we decide to produce a podcast? Really, we had two goals. First and foremost, it was kind of an internal goal. We wanted to provide a resource for people who are already working in this field, really to honestly help kind of inspire and inform our everyday work by kind of pushing pause and taking a step back and reflecting on kind of the deeper motivations and values that drive who we are and why we've chosen the various kind of career paths that we all do. So that was really first and foremost the goal, is to support and inspire existing Open Gov reformers and a variety of change makers in the work that we all do. The second goal, though, was external. How can we use these personal stories of individuals working on these issues to really invite new people to care about our causes? Instead of kind of using jargon and technical arguments, trying to humanize the work that we do by featuring these profiles of individuals who are so passionate about their work. So we partnered up with StoryCorps, which I'm guessing many of you are familiar with. It's a nonprofit that's been around for a decade, but is well known for the stories they disseminate through National Public Radio. And the StoryCorps model was a really great fit for a couple of reasons. First of all, the model has to be a conversation between two people who know each other. So this is not an interview, this is not scripted, but it can be between friends and colleagues. And that just naturally brings out more authenticity and intimacy in the conversation. It's really important that we encourage people to really paint a picture with their words. So don't just explain things kind of in a conceptual way, but tell us actual stories. Tell us episodes and instances in your life. And again, all of that helped towards this goal of kind of humanizing the work a little bit. So this, again, was a partnership with kind of our three entities, and StoryCorps has a lot of standard kind of questions that they can give to anyone to participate in this collection, but we adapted some of those for our purposes. So this is just meant to give you a quick snapshot of the types of conversations that people had and the types of prompts, really, that we encouraged them to reflect on. Thinking about your upbringing, right? Who was your biggest role model growing up? When was the first time you felt excluded or treated differently because of some aspect of who you are? When was the first time you became aware of injustice? Like maybe it was when you were 5 years old and something happened in preschool, or kind of starting to dig through those backstories, and also asking people to reflect on positive experiences when they were part of a collective social change effort that was personally meaningful. What was that like, and how did they find themselves in that position? The process basically followed 4 steps. First, we identified, leaders of a variety of backgrounds and types working in our field and working on social change more broadly. Second, we asked them to select their own conversation partner, because again, that's really important for this to work, is that they feel very comfortable opening up with someone they know. Third, and we prepared them with explaining the goal and various questions and prompts in advance. Third, we record the conversation, and then fourth, spend a lot of time editing and tagging and disseminating through SoundCloud, which then helps us reach all other kind of podcasting channels. In total, we published over 20 episodes, recorded across 8 countries, and again, invite you to check that out. And it's interesting because the technology that we used of podcasting is kind of a great example of old technology meeting new. So obviously radio and audio, audio storytelling has been around for a very long time. But I personally was very surprised at just how easy it was to use the RSS feed technology to distribute this like overnight across so many different channels and have the potential to reach so many new listeners and audiences. So definitely there's the benefit of kind of easier global distribution, but also participation. Many of our global partners were able to record stories on their smartphones and then submit them to us. Overall, I think the key challenge in this whole experience was how to evaluate if we were successful or not, beyond the number of listens and kind of the casual feedback from participants, to be honest. And I think that's probably cuts across a lot of our experience. So look forward to talking about that. And finally, a couple key lessons that we found. The first was it's really important to prime people if you want them to have this intimate, authentic conversation, which they don't normally have. You can't just push someone in a recording booth and say like, okay, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. So that was really important to kind of set the stage. Second was on the process itself. We had to invest a lot of time and energy into editing because these are not professional storytellers, right? And everyone has their own style. So we took 1-hour conversations, edited them down to 5-minute segments that you can listen to, and had a journalist do that with his editorial ear, basically. Third, the stronger the existing relationship, often the more powerful the story. And finally, set your own targets, in advance to really help evaluate over time what's working and what isn't. Again, I invite you to check out the Open Gov Stories podcast and look forward to the conversation. Thank you.